Chiefs Kingdom. The news that we have been waiting for is finally here. On today's show, we break down the latest reports, the breaking news that Jawan Taylor has officially been, and might I add, finally been released by the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome into a brand new episode of the Chiefs Report by Chad Sports, where I'm a little bit, maybe even happier than usual today. I can't even contain my smile today. There was a moment pretty recently where I thought that this was not going to happen. Where I thought that based off of the things that Brett Veach had been saying in his press conferences, that maybe he was going to try to find a way to not release Jawaan Taylor. And maybe that even was his intention just a few days ago. Find a way to not have to do this. But you dig into those numbers a little bit more, and you just know it's not possible. You just know that there isn't a way for the Kansas City Chiefs to not release Jawan Taylor, for that not to be the best and most logical decision for this franchise. We're going to break down why here on today's episode of the Chiefs Report by Chad Sports. That's going to be the primary focus, what the Chiefs gained from releasing Jawan Taylor, why exactly they did it, and now we're going to talk about what comes next. That's kind of the primary focus right now. So right now, where are the Kansas City Chiefs at in cap space? Well, you got to remember they released Mike Dana. So let's rewind a little bit. So before the release of Mike Dana and Jawan Taylor, we were at negative $11 million in cap space because of the restructure of Patrick Mahomes. So remember, we were way down at negative 58 million, some odd like that. And then you restructure Patrick Mahomes, you get 40 plus back. Now, with the release of Mike Dana, that saved us nearly $9 million, up to $2 million, or negative $2 million, excuse me. Just a little under negative $3 million, if I'm doing my head math correctly right now. And then you release Jawan Taylor, and now you are north of $17 million in the positive. In the positive. We're in the green. We're not negative in cap space for the first time in months. Just let's marinate on that for a moment. Just let's think about that for a moment. The Chiefs have cap space. No longer. Didn't take that long. Didn't take that many moves. We were negative 58 million. And now, just a few moves later, this team has cap space. Positive cap space. Enough cap space for every single one of their draft picks plus some moves. Sit on that. And we've got a lot more things that we could do. It's time to celebrate. It is absolutely time to celebrate, guys. It is time to celebrate the release of Jawan Taylor. It is time to celebrate what the Kansas City Chiefs have done as far as the cap space goes. And if you want to celebrate with me, if you're as happy as I am right now, because again, I'm just giddy right now that the Chiefs are moving in the right direction, that the Chiefs continue to make the right decisions. And we laid out the plan. Like today's video, if you're this giddy. I'm getting ahead of myself, but just like today's video if you're as giddy, as excited, as ready to celebrate this as I am. Slap a like on today's video. Help it get out to more Chiefs fans so they could join us in this excitement. They could join us in the celebration of the release of Jawan Taylor, of the Chiefs finally having positive cap space to start to make the moves we all know they need to make this offseason. Because it's not just about having cap space, because it's nice to look at the number that isn't negative anymore. And I mean, it is nice to look at the number when it's not negative anymore. But at the end of the day, you need cap space for real aggressive moves this offseason. And we're going to talk about all of those on today's show. But I think what's interesting, right, it's March 2nd. The Chiefs continue to be aggressive. I said they waited around a little bit on this, and in my opinion, they kind of did. I think you could have done this a week ago and really not changed anything. But it's still notable, in my opinion, that they're doing this well before they absolutely have to, and well in time. Think March 11th is the start of free agency. That's when free agency fully gets underway. It's March 2nd, the day that they released him. 9 full days of thought process and preparation with the new cap space that you have from Jawan Taylor's contract about what you're going to do with it when free agency actually starts. And I mean, we all know, at the end of the day, as much as the NFL doesn't like it, these teams contact guys before the windows open. We all heard Kirk Cousins' thing with Atlanta. I'm sure that there's some of that going on as well. I'm not trying to accuse anybody of tampering here right now, but, these things happen at the end of the day. They absolutely do. So it'll be interesting to see, because I think this is a plan, or the plan is coming together in terms of let's be as aggressive as humanly possible. Let's set ourselves up at the start of this offseason by releasing Mike Dana, by restructuring Patrick Mahomes, when they usually do that in mid-March. They usually do that after free agency gets started. This year it was done before free agency begins. Mike Dana released before free agency begins. Jawan Taylor released before free agency begins. And I think there's a chance that you see some other moves to create cap space done before free agency begins. I don't know that the Chiefs are necessarily done creating more cap space. And that's kind of the focus of a video that we did pretty recently. So if you want more on that, check out our video on top cut candidates for the Kansas City Chiefs and top restructuring options for creating cap space. We had that one come out a little while ago. But what I want to focus on right now is what comes next. What can the Kansas City Chiefs do with the new cap space that they've created? Who might they restructure next to even create more cap space? We're going to have all of those conversations in just 1 second. But first, I got to remind you guys, our St. Patrick's Day shirts are still available for you guys. They are still available at chatsports.com/KC Green. They look absolutely fantastic, and that link will be in the description. If you want to get them before St. Patrick's Day, or you have yours in time for St. Patrick's Day, the last day to order that and still have that be the case is Wednesday of this week. So once again, Wednesday of this week is your final day to order your Kansas City Chiefs drinking team St. Patrick's Day shirt and make sure that it is there for you to rock it on St. Patrick's Day. So one more time, that is chatsports.com/KC Green. That link will be in the pinned comment as well. If you guys want to pick up your Kansas City Chiefs drinking team tees, that is where you do so. And one more time, Wednesday, your final day to order so that they'll be here on St. Patrick's Day. First thing that I think the Kansas City Chiefs have to take care of, now that they have the cap space in place, now that they have just 9 days remaining till the free agency window begins, what's going on with Travis Kelce? That's answer number one, in my opinion. Is he staying? Is he going? Where are we right now? Because every day that passes without confirmation that he's coming back as a Kansas City Chief is another day that uncertainty creeps into my mind. I've told you guys before, I'm very confident, and I would still consider myself relatively confident, that Kelce comes back. But every day that passes, you start to wonder what the holdup is. At the end of the day, the Kansas City Chiefs need to know if Travis Kelce is in or out for the 2026 season. That's as simple as that, because they have to make a contract decision on him from there. I don't think it's necessarily as like, are you staying in Kansas City? I think that's a definite yes. It's just really, what does that look like price-wise? How much money does Travis Kelce want to come back for 2026? And can the Kansas City Chiefs meet his goals under their current cap space limitations? Do they have to make more cap-related moves to create more cap space? And that would be something like maybe, and I hope they don't do this, restructuring Chris Jones, I hope they don't restructure Chris Jones. We'll stop there. I do hope that they restructure Trey Smith or maybe Creed Humphrey. We've talked about these different options, and we'll get into the whys on that briefly. But if you touch Chris Jones's contract, you make it so prohibitive to get out of that deal during its final 2 seasons over the next 2 years. As Chris Jones continues to age, I don't think he's somebody that you want to marry yourself to like that. At the end of the day, he's been a great player in Kansas City. He's had unbelievable moments. He will be a future member of this team's Ring of Honor. I think he is a future Hall of Famer. But at the end of the day, Chris Jones isn't the guy that he was when you put pen to paper on that deal. And if you restructure that money, it makes it almost impossible to get out of that deal over the next 2 seasons if Chris Jones continues to not be that guy. If he takes any further steps back and you decide at this point, we have to move in other directions with this cap space. It no longer makes sense to commit nearly $40 million to Chris Jones. But you won't have that option if you restructure that deal. It's really as simple as that. Trey and Creed, I don't have any concern about decline over the next couple of seasons from those guys. They're in their prime athletically. They're 2 of the best offensive linemen in the entire NFL. Creed Humphrey is easily the best center in the NFL. Trey Smith is easily one of the best right guards in the NFL. I have no qualms about committing serious money that's going to be guaranteed, about not being able to get out of their contracts, because there's no chance that over the next couple of years, the Chiefs are going to suddenly want to get out of those deals. I shouldn't say no chance, but there's very, very low chance that the Chiefs are going to suddenly want to get out of those deals. I think it would need to be a catastrophic injury for one of those guys. And I don't even want to speak that into existence. I really don't. But I think all of this is to say, to go back to what the original point is here, you can create the cap to get Kelce under contract no matter what. You just need to know from Travis, A, I want to be here next season. I want to keep playing football. And B, this is the number that I would like. Because as of right now, we have no idea what the number is. My speculation, it's anywhere from $7 to $10 million a year, with likely almost every penny of that guaranteed. And who says no? Do you? I don't. Let me know. Would you sign that deal with Patrick Mahomes in the comments? Or excuse me, with Travis Kelce in the comments. Patrick Mahomes. Would you sign the 1 year? Yeah, I'm sure you'd sign that deal with Patrick Mahomes. It'd be the best value contract for Mahomes ever. But for Travis Kelce, 1 year, $7 to $10 million, $5 to $7 million guaranteed for Kelce. Would you sign that contract? I would. Absolutely, I would. Absolutely, I would. That would keep him on the lower end of highest paid tight ends in the NFL. You're looking at some of these guys right now. Kyle Pitts is probably about to get $16 million a year. And you would have a similar, not similar production. I mean, he's up there towards the same production that Kyle Pitts has. I don't know that you're going to get that next season. That's why it's a little bit lower. That's the risk involved with bringing back Travis Kelce. But this is one of the greatest tight ends ever. And you get him at that bang for your buck price point when he's still productive, still went over 800 yards last season. I don't know who's saying no to that at that point. I literally do not know who is saying no to that. Next decision the Kansas City Chiefs have to make, in my opinion, take your pick of one of the three guys in the secondary. I'm going to ask you to do this right now. Trent McDuffie, type TM. If you want to keep around Trent, Jaylen Watson, JW. Give me a JW. Bryan Cook, give me a BC. I expect Bryan Cook to probably be the least popular option of that poll, but shouldn't put anything in your guys' mind before I give you the poll. My opinion here, and you can't keep all three of them. At the end of the day, that's just the reality of the way we are in the cap right now. Maybe you could keep McDuffie this season, and it'd be a terrible decision. I guess you could re-sign Jaylen Watson and Bryan Cook and then just let McDuffie walk after that, which would be probably the worst way to play this. So we're not even going to have that as one of our potential options. I think the ways the Chiefs play this realistically look like letting Jaylen Watson go, letting Bryan Cook go, and keeping Trent McDuffie, and probably letting both of those guys walk at the end of the day and trying to rebuild the secondary younger, or keeping one of those two guys and likely trading Trent McDuffie. And now, why would you do that? Because I think we could all agree that while Jaylen Watson's a good player, while Bryan Cook is a good player, they're not all pros. They're not Trent McDuffie. Why would you keep them over McDuffie? It comes down to a question of what's more valuable to you at the end of the day. That better corner, the substantive difference between Jaylen Watson and Trent McDuffie as far as corner play goes, or the value of a first-round draft pick. What means more to you? I don't think there's necessarily a wrong answer. You could give me your answer, but I think that's the question you have to answer at the end of the day around Trent McDuffie is, do you want the better corner, or do you want the value you could potentially get for the better corner in the draft? And remember, I see a lot of people use the Peter Griffin mystery box meme here, and I understand it. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about here, it's Peter Griffin from Family Guy looking at the box and telling Lois, hey, Lois, sure it's a boat, but this is a mystery box. It could be anything, even a boat. And a lot of people go, yeah, you have Trent McDuffie, but this is a draft pick. It could be anything, even Trent McDuffie. And sure, yeah, I see the point. You're trading away a good player to potentially draft a good player. Does it make sense? Yes, when you have 4 years of team control on a rookie deal for that young player. That's the mystery box element that always gets left out by people who discuss it that way, is the contract element. And we all know how important every penny of cap space is to the Kansas City Chiefs right now. When you're as committed as they are to guys like Patrick Mahomes, to guys like Creed Humphrey, to guys like Trey Smith, to guys like Chris Jones, who all have massive mega deal contracts, you have to trim the fat elsewhere at the end of the day. You've got to be conservative about your financial decisions on spots on the roster. That's the reality of it. At the end of the day, we've seen the Kansas City Chiefs place a lower value on the corner position and believe in themselves, maybe is the right word, to replace it in the draft. We've seen that over and over again during Brett Veach's tenure. I do think we're going to see it again. I think they're going to trade Trent McDuffie. I think they're going to re-sign Jaylen Watson, and I think they're going to let Bryan Cook hit the free agency market. I think that deal for Trent McDuffie looks like one of two things: a trade with the Rams for probably pick number 29, or a trade with the Dallas Cowboys for pick number 20. Those are your two options. I think you've probably got to give up an additional 5th or 6th round draft pick to seal the deal on 20, maybe even a little bit more capital than that to get the 20th pick from the Dallas Cowboys. But both of those teams are very corner needy. Both of those teams would be very interested in adding a guy like Trent McDuffie, and may not place as much value on their draft capital. We know the Rams, for a fact, are a team that have been historically willing to deal draft capital. Absolutely, they have. Think about the F them picks era that helped lead them to a Super Bowl, where Les Snead just traded everything away for various players. Maybe they go on a run like that with Matthew Stafford in the final year of his deal. Maybe they just start trading picks away to acquire as many good players as they can. I think that's something that we could take advantage of at the end of the day. If they're interested in firing off draft picks, then we're interested in catching them. I really think you should be. I absolutely do. Lastly, the last move I want to see this team make with the money that they've saved, cutting Jawan Taylor, with the money that they've saved doing other moves, bring back Leo Chenal. I want to see Leo Chenal back. I know some of the other stuff that we've talked about may feel a little bit more pertinent and extremely important, and Chenal maybe down the totem pole, but that's why he's third on my list. You got to do these other two things first, but once you've done them, find a way to bring Leo back. Because this dude, last season, 24 stops in run defense in 2025, 31 tackles, 2 sacks, 24 stops, and an interception. And that was not playing starting snaps. That was not playing a huge percentage of the snaps overall, because for whatever reason, he just didn't get that much run. I really think like he earned more run last season. I absolutely believe that. I think Leo's a really good player in this linebacker room, and he's somebody I want to see brought back, because I think that team needs guys it can rely on for the future. You got a lot of money committed to Nick Bolton, who did not perform at the level that he is being paid to perform. And I think you need somebody like Leo, who I don't think you'd have to pay a ton of money to. I think that deal is relatively cheap. I don't think it's like dirt cheap. It's not vet min, absolutely, but it is a deal that you could afford. It is a deal that you can get done, and I think it is absolutely one that the Chiefs need to get done. If you made it to this point in the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That is going to wrap it up for us in this one. One more time, we'll hit the breaking news. I know we covered it off the top and then talked about a bunch of other things, but Jawan Taylor has officially been released by the Kansas City Chiefs, saving $20 million on the 2026 NFL cap. A great day for the Kansas City Chiefs as they continue to be aggressive this offseason, prepping themselves to be successful. We'll be here all offseason covering them, so make sure you subscribe. And as always, let's go Kansas City Chiefs.